on, so we have a few folks that are at that meeting as well. But we're going to open up today's meeting with HB 721. Chairman Powell is not here, but representing him, Barry. If you'll, are you ready? Yes. If you'll present 721 to the committee, please.
Schrank, president of Taggart's Driving School, headquartered in Tucker, Georgia. We've been in business since 1957. Went to work for Mr. Taggart in 1974 and bought the company in 1976. This bill that we're looking at today, House Bill 721, actually came through. The first section you see on the bill from lines 1 to 26 actually passed through the House Motor Vehicle Committee, originated in the House Motor Vehicle Committee in 2005, and that part of the law became effective January 1, 2006. And what it allows the licensed driving schools, licensed by the Department, Georgia Department of Driver Services, is to provide third-party testing or the road test for our students. At that time, the basic driver education program could only be received in one way, and that was 30 hours in the classroom and 6 hours behind the wheel. About the same time, a bill passed, what's commonly referred to as Joshua's Law, and it set up a driver education study committee. And in a very short period of time, it was determined that there were some problems with Joshua's Law, which required 16 individuals who wanted to get a driver's license at 16 to pass certain standards. And the problems were, and probably the best way to explain it is if you can imagine a line going east and west through Macon, Georgia, and looking south to the Florida line, there's about 100 counties, and most of those counties didn't have any driver education program at all. But their kids were required to take driver education to get a license day after their 16th birthday at the earliest. So basically what happened, the Driver Education Commission came up with an idea of a 30-hour online program. And at the present time, there are either 5 or 6 online programs licensed. So kids all over the state can take their driver education online, especially if there's not a classroom program available. The problem is that if a student does not take the 30 hours of classroom, as it says in the law, and 6 hours behind the wheel, they're not eligible to take a road test with a licensed third-party provider driving school. So over the years, in fact, probably today, we will get calls from a parent whose child took the 30 hours of classroom online, our licensed program, and then called us for the 6 hours behind the wheel and want to take the road test, have their child take the road test with us. They can't do it just because of the language in the bill. So if you look past line 26, B, C, and D, that adds all the possible combinations or all the possible options that a teenager could take to get their driver's license or take the test with us. So aside from the classroom behind the wheel, they could take an online program and 6 hours with a licensed school. They could take the online program and use the 40-hour parent-taught course that is provided by the Department of Driver Services. They could even take 30 hours in a high school that is licensed to teach the classroom but that does not teach behind the wheel, call a licensed driving school, or do the parent 40-hour program, and they will be eligible to take the road test with us. Over the years, this program has worked very, very well. The department has found that the schools that have been in business for a length of time don't have any problems. If they're going to have a problem, it's probably going to be with a school that has just gone into business. So up on line 15, you'll see that they're going to change the requirement to do the third-party testing to 10 years. And we agree with that. That's not a problem. At the present time, there's schools that are licensed through the 30 and 6 program and have plus 10 years in business. There's 112 of them in the state, so there's certainly coverage. So basically, that's the gist of it. I think it's good public policy. It's going to be good for the parents, good for the teenagers. It's very good for the department. I don't have the figures, but I know they have saved hundreds of thousands of dollars from not having to hire licensed examiners. Parents are very, very happy, you know, when they come to the private schools and take the road test. Basically, when the child passes the road test with a licensed driving school, the school prints out a certificate off the DDS server. They give it to the parent. They go on down to the DDS location, walk in, see the host person, and they probably send them to the shortest line there, just get your driver's license issued. So it's a good program, and it's worked real, real well.
Good. Thank you very much. Chairman Powell has come in. Do you care to comment further?
I thought he did an excellent job explaining that, and that's what he said is factual.
Thank you, Chairman Powell.
Thank you.
Any questions of the committee? Number 26.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the presentation and for the bill. And while I agree with the bill, and one of the things that we have been addressing throughout the state over this past summer is expanding rural broadband internet access. Would you not say that it's difficult to do your 30 hours of online driver education courses in the rural parts of the state without having access to the internet?
Representative, we don't teach in the rural parts of the state, but it certainly could be a problem.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Any other questions of the committee? I want to comment and thank Chairman Powell for bringing this bill, because, again, I've been long time a believer that if we can educate our young drivers, particularly before they get behind the wheel, that that's going to be the benefit of the entire driving public. So thank you, Chairman Powell, for bringing the bill. Any other questions of the committee? At the appropriate time, and this be it. I've got a motion, do pass. Do I hear a second? Motion do pass with a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much, Chairman Powell. You got your bill. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is HB 766, Dewey McLean. You want to step to the, we want him to step to the podium. You're fine right there. You're fine right there. You're fine right there, Dewey.
Okay.
Excuse me, Representative McLean, pardon me. Pardon me for the informality.
Stop pushing it. Light it up. Okay, now, yeah, but the light's not working properly. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know what I have is House Bill 766, and what this is this is a specialty tag for Alabama A&M University, and this is what the tag looks like. Alabama A&M University is the number two, I guess the number two students in the of Georgia go to Alabama A&M University. They roughly got about 5,000 alumni here in Atlanta, and the scholarship started in 1985, and these funds will be helping. Right now, there are 12 students in Alabama A&M that are going from the Atlanta area. As you can see, at the bottom it does say "Go Bulldogs."
As it should. Thank you, Representative McLean. I want to be sure we're all looking at the right LC. We should be looking at LC 45-0035S. Is that correct, Representative
Yes.
McLean? Thank you. Be sure we're on the right piece of legislation. Any questions from the committee? Chair will entertain a motion. We hear a do pass. Do I hear a second? Yes. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next on the agenda is House Bill 784. Representative Dubnik.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
And I want to be sure we're talking about LC 45-0034S. Is that the correct version you're working on?
I have a different LC number here, but we'll,
Well, hold on just a second. Let's be sure we've got the right
okay.
piece of legislation.
I'm sorry.
We're looking, does he,
May I approach to look, Mr. Chairman? Look at that with you?
Yeah, it should be LC 45-0034S. The only difference is we added, is you'll notice the effective date of July 1, 2019. That's the only change.
apologies, Mr. Chairman.
Not a problem. Thank you. Just want to be sure we're passing the right piece of legislation for you.
You
Yes,
and I
sir.
both.
Yes, sir. All right, if you'll proceed ahead to tell us about what your piece of legislation does.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen of the committee, this is a specialty tag for Ducks Unlimited. Ducks Unlimited, if you're not familiar, is the world's leader in wetlands and waterfowl conservation. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, one of the 100 largest nonprofits in the world. We're proud to boast nearly 1 million members in North America and 20,000 here in Georgia. So I'm a volunteer, a longtime volunteer for the organization, and bring this bill on behalf of all the members, Ducks Unlimited members in Georgia. And Mr. Chairman, I'd like to point out that the funds from this bill will remain in the state coffers, if you will, within the Department of Natural Resources, specifically Wildlife Resources Division, for wetlands and waterfowl work here in the state of Georgia. I'd be happy to stand for any questions.
Very good. Any questions from the committee? Chair is ready for a motion. We have a motion to pass. I hear a second. Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? You got your license tag, sir.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Chairman
very
and the
much.
committee.
The next item on our agenda is HB 797, brought by Representative Laricchia. Is he here or a representative? We'll move on then and come back to that if Representative Laricchia makes it to this hearing. Next item on the agenda is HB 798. Representative Ballinger here. She'd be in the chair committee hearing, so we'll pass on 798. Next on the agenda is HB 815, Representative Martin.
Also,
He also, alrighty. Thank you. Representative Perkel's going to introduce 797 for us as he sits on that committee.
Well, thank you, sir. I do not sit on the committee, but I have, I am familiar with the bill.
Well, thank you for clarifying. Thank you, sir. Proceed.
House Bill 797 is a specialty license plate for the Georgia Aquarium, similar to the other license plates that we've done so far today. They actually do provide a lot of educational and opportunities for kids in the state through this money, and the decal, and I do not have a copy with me at today, but it will include Georgia Aquarium on there, clearly identified that this is a supporter of the Georgia Aquarium. The funds go therein.
Yeah, let the record show, in subcommittee, we did see a picture of the representation of that tag. Looks very nice, by the way. Any other comments from the committee or questions? Do I hear a motion to pass? Motion's been made. Second? And seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The motion passes. I'm sure you'll let Mr. Representative Laricchia know his bill has passed. And then to 798. Do we have someone to speak to 798, which is a specialty tag for firefighters? All right, very good, sir. If you'll,
what's your number?
what's your number? Proceed. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and gentlemen of the committee, this is House Bill 798, LC 391704. And what this bill right here does, we've already had firefighter tags, but our volunteer firefighters, because of some language we had to change in here, they were all of a sudden they were unable to get their tags. And so all this does is, if you're a volunteer fireman at a legal entity, you'll be able to get a firefighter tag too.
Very good. I know had a number of firefighters, volunteer firefighters back home, Glenn, McIntosh, and Long County, that have asked for this. So
Yes.
it's a good bill. I'm glad we're expanding the scope of this tag to improve and increase the eligibility for this. Any questions of the committee? Chair will entertain a motion to pass. So, moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? 798 passes. Thank you very much.
Do you wanna just do that one? Do you remember what that did? Okay.
Okay. What's your number? We do have someone who'll speak to House Bill 815, a license tag for the Georgia Masonic Charities.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill simply moves, this is an existing tag that's already being dispersed. So this simply moves the disbursement from the general fund into the Georgia Masonic Charities Foundation.
Fairly simple measure, I would say. Any questions of the committee? Chair will entertain a motion. Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? None opposed. The bill does pass. We were scheduled to also hear HB 761, but we're going to continue to leave that on the table. Would that be correct? We're going to continue to leave that bill on the table while we continue to work out some of the details. Is there any other business to come before the committee today? With that,
We don't have your bill on the agenda.
I had spoken with Chairman Epps about getting it put on the, he had been in agreement about putting it, because it was assigned to Representative Caldwell's subcommittee, but he hasn't been able to get that scheduled. So, Chairman Epps had agreed to allow me to, if the committee had time to have a
which
hearing.
bill number are you referring to?
804.
Yeah, we don't have a copy of that bill for the committee, I
I
don't believe.
gave them some,
Unfortunately, we don't have that original bill, so we're gonna have to, just to have you wait and get that bill
Okay.
on the agenda for another time, but thank you.
all right, thank you.
Anything else to come before the committee? If not, we stand adjourned, and thank you all very much for your attendance.